Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I won school games in June of 2025 and generated over 333,000 US dollars in 7 months. If I was a Muslim educational creator, here's how I'd make so much halal money that it feels haram. But it's not actually haram, obviously. And it doesn't matter if you have an audience and you're trying to scale past 5, 10, 20K a month, or you have an audience and you haven't sold to them before and you're worried your first launch is gonna flop. This is going to apply to both situations. Now, I'm not a scholar, so please do your own research, but from my understanding, here are the most common types of haram things in this business. So I'm going to break this down into 5 keys, and they're all equally important. So let's get into it. The first key is market. If I had a following on, let's say, Instagram or YouTube, and I never sold anything to them, I would spend a good amount of time picking my market before I sell anything. And I'm going to talk about scaling in a second as well. It doesn't matter what niche I'm making content for right now. If it's going downhill, I'm not going downhill with it. Let me give you an example. If you're in the newspaper market, it really doesn't matter how good your papers are. Other than the OGs, no one buys newspapers anymore. But on the other hand, if you're in a market that's trending or growing really quickly, like at one point AI was, if you remember, then you could even be average or bad at what you do and still make bank. Not that I support that, of course, but my point is I would find a market that is steadily growing or trending by looking at things like Google Trends, right? You can search keywords on there. Instagram search to see are people selling in it, looking at the links in their bios. Same with YouTube. I would also check the school community leaderboards. If you have a school account that has a school community, you can check the leaderboards. I would also search Facebook ads library. I would ask myself, does it fall under health, wealth, and halal relationships? If yes, then that's a good sign. I would also ask myself, is there so much pain in this market that the people wouldn't think twice about paying their hard-earned money to speed up the process? By the way, when I said trending market, I do not mean chase trends and just try to sell whatever's trending. You need to have the skills necessary to actually be in that market. But also, I mean a market that was already growing, right? It's a healthy market, but it's growing even more now because of some other factor. Here's a quick story to show you my point. The first client I ever launched was Fahad Kaleem. He wanted to sell a course on how to go viral, but his whole brand was built on entertainment. That's what his audience was there for, and that's what they expect from him when they follow him. And when we launched his go viral offer, you can imagine what happened. It did not go well. The months I spent setting up the funnel, the offer, everything, optimizing, writing the VSLs, it didn't matter because it just wasn't the right fit for his audience. And I take full responsibility for that because I knew about his audience problem going into it, but I just did it anyway, to be honest, because I wanted to succeed in this business so badly, and I learned my lesson from that. Now, if I was stuck scaling a course or a coaching offer to my audience, I would first take a look at the market, take a look at the niche, see if that's the bottleneck, and the reason stays the same as before. Even though it's very unlikely, it's worth taking a little bit of time, make sure your market isn't on the decline, and maybe that you haven't maxed out your niche. And I would use the same methods that I just mentioned to find that out. If needed, I would either expand my niche, so try to serve a different niche or a bit wider niche, or I would look into a parallel market that I could pretty much tap into and scale and not stay stuck. Let's say I was a fitness coach and I was only in the in-person market, so I did not train anyone online. Now, I'll be capped by that at some point, no matter what, because there's only so much people I can train in person. Plus, the in-person market in general is declining. And what I would do in that case is start offering my services online. The second key is the offer. And I'm going to be asking myself the same question repeatedly when it comes to the offer. And that's, is my offer so good that people are going to feel really bad or even stupid if they said no to it? You can see this with something that's free. People start taking free things even when they don't need it because they're just gonna feel bad. It's like, it's free, I might as well take it, And so we wanna get a similar vibe from the offer, except minus the free part, which can be tricky sometimes. And the same applies with an existing offer. I would ask myself the same question and apply that same metric to it. And we all wanna get paid for our services so often that we forget about the customer experience and we focus just on us getting paid. So what I would do is start from the customer's point of view and work my way backwards. I would ask myself, is the value of what I'm providing at least 10 times more than the asking price? Because if it's not, here's what's gonna happen. The 10x is not random. It's because even though some people, some customers may pay for less than that, most won't see it as a good deal. And that way I encapsulate everyone within my offer. So how would I know what 10x is for my specific offer, let's say? I would start surveying my audience and seeing what they think 10x the value versus the price would be. And I would also look at competitors and see who's doing the best and kind of judge for myself based on my own experience whether that is actually 10x the value versus what they're asking for. Let me tell you another story real quick. So I saw an ad the other day of a brother who was selling an ebook for $14.95, and he mentioned in the copy on that page that he had made $300,000 in the past year or something like that from using what's in the ebook. Now, obviously that's way more than 10x your investment, and that's what he said he made. He didn't say that you're gonna even make that, but your brain just automatically compares that to the price anyway. If I want to make sure I'm giving way more value than I'm taking, I would consider 4 main factors. The first one is how much effort or how much sacrifice or how much money does the customer need to put into this in order to get their result. The second one is how much time does it take for the customer to get the result. The third one is how convinced is the customer that what you're selling them is gonna solve their problem. And the last one is how big is the result you're promising them. Let's say I have a generic online fitness offer where I have a bunch of videos that the person can watch, and they have to watch them by themselves and they have to take action by themselves. The effort that they have to put in is gonna be way more than if I said, I'm gonna come live with you and I'm gonna train you every day. I'm gonna buy your groceries and I'm gonna make your food, right? So those are 2 different levels of sacrifice and effort that the customer has to put in. Also, the monetary sacrifice for me coming there, living with them, making their food is gonna be way more than if I just said, here's a course and I don't need to deliver anything else except just give you access to the course. Now, the amount of time it takes to lose 20 kg is not gonna be one day, but it's probably gonna be shorter on the one where the coach, me, is actually living with them, making their food and everything like that. Whereas on a completely different offer like Amazon, let's say, I click the button to order and I get my delivery the next day. So the time delay is very short. There can of course be even shorter time delays on an offer like, let's say, a pill that gets rid of your headache. It gets rid of it in like an hour. Now with the fitness offer, if I was a coach that had testimonials from all different types of people and people that looked like the person that I'm targeting, then that person's gonna be pretty convinced that I can help them. But if I was a coach that had way less followers and I didn't really have that many testimonials or even no testimonials, then that customer is gonna be less convinced that I can help him. And that's only true if the value of each coach's content is the same. And in terms of the result that you're gonna promise, this can be a huge result you promise, or it can be a small one. For example, make your first $100 online versus start making 10K a month consistently. Your offer can also have guarantees or bonuses. So for guarantees, you can either have unconditional guarantees, which means no matter what, you can get your money back or you can get X back. You can have a conditional guarantee, meaning if you do the work, then you can get your money back if it didn't work, or XYZ. And then you can have implied guarantees, which means I'm working with you on a rev share or profit share based model, or you can have anti-guarantees, which is just, I don't have a guarantee. Bonuses can be anything you can think of as long as they're somewhat relevant to your offer and they give value to the customer. So for example, get a free one-on-one call with me, or here's this PDF tracker, or here's this 30-day training calendar, or here's $10,000 worth of software discounts. So before I actually make my offer as a Muslim creator, what I'm gonna do is look at my audience size. If I have a really big audience, then it does make sense to go low ticket or mid ticket and make the delivery as easy or automated as possible. That way I can sell to my audience, which is already big. But if I was a smaller creator and I have a limited pool of people to sell to at that time, and I'm not thinking of running ads, we'll talk about that later. But what I would do is sell high ticket because I have the time to actually do something unscalable, and I would make more money for my time versus if I did something low ticket. For example, if I was someone who had a limited pool of people to sell to, let's say I have 10K followers, 5K followers, is it gonna be harder for me to sell $10 worth of a product to 1,000 people in my audience out of the 5,000 or 10,000? Or is it gonna be harder to sell one person in that audience something that is worth $10,000? Obviously, it's gonna be harder to sell 1,000 people in my audience. So if I was stuck scaling and I already checked off the market side of things, so market's good, it's growing. Next thing I would check is the offer. So is my offer a no-brainer? Will people feel really bad if they say no to this? Because if the answer is no to that question, then that's the first thing I need to work on before I look at other things. Because if I start running ads and the offer is not optimized, then the return on those ads are not going to be as good. Anyway, what I would do is I would look at my audience size. So do I have a very small audience? In that case, I might need to start running ads. Or if I have a very large audience, I feel like I could have been selling to more of these people, then there's something wrong with the offer. I would look at whether I'm going high ticket or am I going low ticket. Am I giving 10x more value than I'm actually asking for in terms of the price? And do I have multiple offers? Like, do I have an offer here about this and another offer about something else? Because that could cause a fork in the road for people and that could confuse people. Here's a good AI agency offer. So this guy says, I'll give you 200 videos and guides. I'll give you $20,000 worth in software discounts. I'll give you full courses on how to use each software. I have 40 templates for scripts, lead generation, sales, and I have 3 unknown lead generation methods that help you close high ticket clients fast. And there's 24/7 Q&A in this community. Plus, he says there are also these bonuses. So there's a daily live Q&A in the group that I, the creator myself, I'm gonna be there and answer your questions, so get you unstuck or just give you help. There's also weekly live calls with me, and there's also jobs that you can find from the other members. You can build a network by connecting with other AI consultants. And on top of that, if you don't get your first client, high ticket client, in 90 days, you get your money back. And by the way, look at all these other people like you who got that result. How much would you say that's worth? If that helps you get a client that pays you 2 to 3K a month, one client, which is guaranteed, or you get your money back, how much is that worth? Well, this guy's charging $190 a month for that. And if you times that by 3, it's something like 600, let's say. Is that worth a client that pays you 2 to 3K a month consistently for months on end? A bad AI agency offer, in my opinion, would be something like, here's a 200 video course that teaches you everything you need to know about building an AI agency. There's no hands-on help. There's no discounts, no templates, no Q&A. I don't have any testimonials. There's no video course on how to use these softwares. There's no guarantee, there's no bonuses. And that costs $100 one time. You can see the difference between these two offers. The next key is your audience. So I would make sure that my audience matches my offer. If I have the same situation as what happened with me and Fahad, where his audience does not match what he's trying to sell them, they don't care about that, then it's just not gonna work. So that's the very, very first thing. Then what I would do, if I know that my audience actually wants what I wanna sell them, then I would survey them to see exactly what their budget is, if they have the authority to actually buy, or do they need approval from someone else, if they have the need for what I'm selling, and then if it's the right time for them to actually buy what I'm selling. And then I would look at, okay, how active are they? Because I might have 100,000 followers, but are they actually engaging in my posts? Are they liking my posts? Are they commenting on my posts? What's the activity like? Or do I have 100K and I have like 20 likes on my latest reel? That is gonna show me that the viewers are not really that active. I can also gauge it by doing a story with a call to action on it and seeing how many people respond to it. Or I can run on YouTube, again, a survey and see how many people respond to it. That will also tell me how much of these people are actually active and how many views on my YouTube video is converting into clicks on the survey. That's a really important stat as well. What's also really important is recent views. So not just I have a video from a year ago that has 1 million views, or 6 months ago that has 500,000. It's like I want the recent videos to be doing really well as well. And then I would look at the statistics on those videos and see what the average watch time is. If average watch time is really low, let's say for a YouTube video, 1 minute is pretty low. If you have like a 10-minute video, let's say, or a 20-minute video, then that's something that needs to be worked on as well. The next thing I would look at is the demographic of my audience. So where is my audience from, firstly, and then also the ages of my audience, because that's gonna heavily dictate how you talk to them and the offers that you give them. And it's also gonna tell you a bit about their budget based on the GDP of their country. And if your audience is all teenagers, you're not gonna talk to them the same way as you talk to an audience of 50 or 60-year-olds. I would also look at the devices used in my audience if the platform allows for that, because that's gonna tell me, okay, most people are viewing this on mobile. I need to optimize my landing pages, etc. for mobile. Oh yeah, and those teenager audiences are not gonna have the same buying power as the 50 or 60-year-old. The next key is platform. So I would make sure that if I'm not making content on YouTube, I would start doing that ASAP. And the reason for that is because the watch time on YouTube on average is 3 to 4 minutes. Whereas if you look at reels and short form, the average watch time on a reel is 5 to 10 seconds. And people need to trust you to buy from you. And so I want them to watch as much of my content, consume as much of it as possible, because they're gonna gain more trust in me and they're gonna be way more likely to buy something from me. Right below YouTube, I'll put Instagram. It's just built in a way where it's easy to sell things and to do kind of DM call to actions and to do call to actions from your story with ManyChat and everything. So I would rank Instagram above that, and you can do a lot of DM conversations and setting calls through DMs, etc. Then below that, I would do emails. So emails are so good for selling and making money, and there's a bunch of data to show this. Don't ask me to quote the sources. This is the sources, just trust me, bro, right now. If you set up your email properly, you have high deliverability, you're not going into the spam folder every time, and you're actually giving value in your emails like every week, and you're not making any asks. When you actually want to launch something or sell something, or you finally make that ask after weeks of just value emails, then it's gonna hit and people are actually gonna buy, and your click-through rate is gonna be through the roof. So that's why emails are pretty high. I wouldn't really worry about LinkedIn and X and all that too much, because the bulk of the work is gonna be done by YouTube, Instagram, and stuff like that. But there is some exceptions when it comes to X and LinkedIn. Some communities just exist on there more, and they're on there more. So yeah. Now the last key is the selling mechanism. And what I mean by that is, how does someone go from not knowing anything about you to actually buying something from you? The step-by-step process. So did they find your video organically on YouTube? Did you retarget them after that with an ad? And then that's your call to action. Did you have a link in your YouTube bio and that was your call to action? Did they find your Instagram, or someone sent them your Instagram video and then you had a link in your Instagram bio and that was their call to action? Or did you have a comment reel on your Instagram where you say comment XYZ to get this, and that's where they saw you? Or you had email marketing and then you sent them an email after sending a bunch of value, and that's where you actually sold them on it. Obviously, you're gonna have many different avenues and selling mechanisms, but you need to know what exactly those are, and you need to set them up intentionally so that they work together and that they produce you results, because they're gonna work obviously more efficiently together. Ads are gonna be a big part of this as well. If you wanna go beyond your organic audience, you're gonna need to do ads at one point, because that's only gonna take you so far. Plus, ads are technically infinitely scalable, but if you've never run them before, then you do run the risk of just burning money and not getting any results. Here's a framework that's really good to consider when it comes to selling someone something. So you either have people that are unaware of anything, so they don't know that they have a problem, they don't know that there's a solution, they don't know that there's a product for this, they don't know anything. That's unaware, fully unaware, okay? You can't sell someone instantly and just tell them, hey, buy this product, when they don't even know they have a problem about it. Then there's problem aware, meaning they know they actually need to solve something, but they don't know that there's a solution. Then there's solution aware, so they know there's a solution, but they just don't know about a specific product that has that solution, or your specific product that can solve the problem. And then obviously there's product aware, so they know about your product, they know that your product can solve their problem. Then there's most aware, meaning they already know everything about your offer, they know that you're selling it, they know how much it is, etc. If you're running ads, you may need to take someone from unaware all the way to most aware, and the way that you do that is one by one through each stage. You're not going to take someone who's unaware and just instantly try to sell them onto something. No, you need to actually nurture them and actually teach them, hey, there's a problem here that you need to fix. And then, hey, here's a solution for it. And then hey, here's my product that will solve that problem. And then they become eventually most aware. But it's not gonna work if you know a lot of people are unaware and then you just try to make an ad selling your product. On the other hand, your product or service might be something that everyone already knows that they need to solve. Everyone already knows that they have a problem. Everybody already knows about the product. So in that case, you don't need to do all that. And if I was the Muslim creator and I wanted to make sure I make so much halal money that it feels haram, I would do monthly webinars to my audience, no matter how big my audience is, and sell them into my offer with that. This works really well, particularly with high ticket. If you have a low ticket offer, then you're gonna need a lot of people on the webinar, let's say, to get more sales onto it, but it wouldn't hurt. And if you can find a way to somehow automate these webinars, so maybe instead of you actually doing it, maybe you could have someone else doing it from your team or something, then you can actually do low ticket and then still have webinars. But how the webinars work, and I recommend doing at least like a 2-day webinar, is that on the first day, you just give them pure value on what you're selling and just your whole niche, right? You just give them value on it. And then on the second day, you make a pitch, and then you continue giving value, and then you can do little mini calls to action to buy your thing or book a call or whatever throughout. And then you can do a Q&A at the end for 15 minutes where you say, here's this special discount you can have for the next 15 minutes, and you can ask me questions. And then at the end, you do one final pitch and you end it off there. There's a book called One to Many by Jason Fladlien if you want to know more about webinars specifically. But basically what you need to know is that they can print you an insane amount of money in a halal way, obviously if you do it in a halal way. And that is the most important thing. Also, what you want to do in general is just something to keep in mind, and what I would do personally in general is give as much value as I possibly can before I make any asks. Goodwill is going to be built with your audience, and they're going to feel bad saying no because you've just given them so much that they know obviously that you can help them more, but they're also going to feel bad about saying no. It's reciprocity, and it definitely works. Another thing I would do is a 10-day challenge funnel, and especially on school. The way that this works is you get people into your school community, but it's not a regular school community. We don't want to start one and then the interactions just die out. There's no engagement, there's no posts or anything like that. That's the worst thing because you're paying the money for school, right? You're building a community and your reputation is going to go down if it's just a ghost town. So what I would do is basically do a 10-day challenge funnel. People come in, there's only one course in your community, maybe two as like a special unlock. But the course that they can access once they come in is a 10-day challenge. And it's basically a 10-part VSL where every single day there's one video for the user to watch. And after they watch that video, they need to make a post about what they learned from that video. So they're obligated to make a post every single day. If they miss one day, you can kick them from the community if it's a free community. And because it's your community, it's your rules. It depends obviously based on offer to offer. Some offers you might not want to do that, but generally this works better because it gets people accountable and it makes it so that everyone who's in there is posting, otherwise they're out. And so you have this community with a bunch of posts, people actually learning because they're held accountable by this getting kicked thing. And then the last day can be a VSL where you sell them onto your high ticket offer. So book a call for my high ticket offer, here's how it works, etc. You can make like a 20-30 minute VSL, however long you want, and get them to book a call for your high ticket offer. That will also work really well during the times that you're not doing the webinar. So if you pair this with the webinar, you can have the school community basically bringing you in people and as they do the challenge. And then you have the webinar that happens once a month where maybe people that don't know you, or you run ads to the webinar and you get people buying your high ticket through there as well. And that can just be a deadly combination. That's what I would do personally. If you want me to help you and actually build this for you, done for you completely, and I don't charge anything up front, then just go to the link in the description and book a call. And inshallah, we're going to have a chat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.